I miss sitting at a table. Oh yes, I miss sitting at a table. Oh, back in Baton Rouge days where I sat on my table and recorded videos in the vertical position. I had this friend and he unfortunately passed away. He was a video, film major at the university I went to. And I remember my first couple of videos, he was like, rotate your camera. And so you can thank him for the improvement in the camera, I guess. And it's still a crappy camera. I'm still using my phone. But I just think that's a sweet story. Hello, people of the internet. My name is Ronnie Jo, and I'm a registered dietitian who does things here on the YouTube. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing good. I'm doing good. I am living life. So, I wanted to do a series, I guess, of videos that kind of talk about thin privilege and body image, body positivity, and biases and weight as it relates to health. And so to start these videos, I feel like I need to kind of talk about my experiences because I realized I haven't done that on this platform before, and kind of talk about like how I got into nutrition and all that jazz. So buckle up because there's childhood trauma coming at you. I'm gonna throw the disclaimer in here. I know this video is a little bit more personal, but I want to make sure that you remember that this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. And you may resonate with something that I went through, and feel free to talk to me about that. But I want to remind everyone that just because I am a healthcare professional, I don't know you personally, and you should talk to a healthcare professional who knows you personally before you take anything I say to change your life. Thank you. So I guess I will start from the beginning. I had a fairly unstable home. Growing up, my father passed away when I was very little, and my mom spent most of my childhood trying to figure out how to live life without him. And if it wasn't for my family around me, I don't think I would have been able to become the person I am today, because while my mom was fairly absent mentally, and sometimes physically, they were there to help me when I needed help, and they were there just as a support system for me. They didn't know everything that was going on, but they were there for me nonetheless. Especially my grandparents. Shout out to my grandparents and my aunts and uncles. When I was about 6 or 7, I realized, as much as you can at 6 and 7, what my mom was going through. And at that point, I realized that I was going to have to raise myself. And when you're that age, it's hard because you don't have a car, you don't have money, you can't do anything by yourself. And so when you decide that you're going to raise yourself, it comes with a lot of challenges. And it's not I don't want to put blame on anybody in my family. Even my mom, I don't want to put blame on her because we were all going through a lot. Collectively, we didn't have a lot of money, and trying to live life, and I didn't let anybody know what was going on. And so if I wasn't letting them know, they would have no way to have known. And so I don't want to put any fault on anyone. And so this basically led to me feeling a lack of control in my life. And now I was always a fairly small child, I guess. At the end of elementary school, I had gained quite a bit of weight. I don't know if this was from puberty or just having more access to food at that point. But I did gain quite a bit of weight. We didn't really go to the doctor that often, so I was never told to lose weight by the doctor by any means. And I wasn't really aware of my appearance up until 7th grade math class, where a boy called me fat. And so not feeling the ability to control my surroundings, paired with now being hyper aware of how I was perceived, really created the ground for my eating disorders. And now I didn't know a lot about nutrition or how your body works with food in general. And, at the time, this was the 2000s, you had a lot of magazines throwing size 0 models at you. And some magazines would talk about how to get their body. And some of these supermodels had very unhealthy eating patterns. And so I quickly realized that if I didn't eat, I would lose weight. And at the same time, I would get applauded as I was growing into my body, or I would get attention from boys at school, which would just validate the fact that I was starving myself. It wasn't until like junior year of high school, I was doing track and field, and really I was just doing field. I had a coach tell me that if I ate more, I would gain muscle and I would be better at my sport. And I guess because of my childhood and the circumstances around that, I was super competitive. Not as competitive anymore, but I was super competitive. And so I did just that. And it became my door, I guess you would say, into the nutrition world. Unfortunately, that became an obsession with nutrition. And I got very, very, very deep into diet culture. I would only eat clean foods. I wouldn't eat any processed sugar at one point. I had this insane food rule that I wouldn't eat anything that had more fat than protein per serving. I even tried being vegan at one point. I would have coined myself as a fitness nutrition babe. I was counting everything, I was measuring everything, and I was tracking absolutely everything. And I would get mad if somebody would eat something that I had measured out for myself, because I was finally able to control something in my life. And I guess it's pretty bittersweet. This was my push to go into studying nutrition, as I was so obsessed with it and I was devoting almost all of my time to it that I really couldn't think about doing anything else. And so that's why I decided to study nutrition. And I did actually spend a couple of years in Seattle at the University of Washington, but I was not doing well academically. And that's a whole different story for a whole different time. But I decided to drop out and move to Tennessee. My dad's family lived in Tennessee, and pick school back up there. And throughout college, my young adult years, my weight fluctuated like most people's weight fluctuates. But mine was more because I was either overeating because I felt guilty for what I was eating, or I was restricting because I felt guilty for what I was eating. And sometimes I just wouldn't eat at all. In senior year of college, up until this point, we had learned very matter-of-fact things about nutrition. This is how your body processes this vitamin. This is what this amino acid is, stuff like that. Very no gray area of nutrition we were learning about. Until senior year, we took this class about weight and health. And I remember my professor asking the class, does overconsumption alone cause obesity? And an overwhelming majority of the class answered yes. Because remember, at this point, we had very much learned very matter-of-factly things about nutrition. And at a very basic level, overconsumption can lead to weight gain and obesity. Yes. And I remember when the whole class answered yes, this made my professor really sad. And at that point, I couldn't really think about why it was making her sad. I was trying to get through school, honestly. And it wasn't until I moved to Louisiana and I was immersed in that culture where I learned that my assumptions about food and nutrition and weight and health and obesity, they were all very, very wrong. I learned how genetics contribute to health outcomes. I learned about cultural foods and cultural practices and health outcomes. I learned about socioeconomic status and how that plays in to health and food. I learned about food security and food insecurity and how that plays a role in health outcomes. And I also learned a lot about eating disorders. And throughout all this, I learned that it isn't overconsumption that is the problem. It is our relationship with food and our availability to food that is the problem. And then the weight bias nature of our medical system that likes to point to excess weight being the cause of all these health problems. When we have mountains and mountains and mountains of research to show that these health problems, most of them, are not caused by excess weight. Excess weight can be a risk factor for these health problems. Excess weight can make these health problems worse, but they are not the cause of these health problems. And I think it's a very easy way out for medical professionals to blame everything on weight. It's not addressing the real problems. And so I'm very passionate about this. I had found that when I became a dietitian, this is something I really wanted to focus on. Education, educating other health professionals as much as I can, educating, the public as much as I can. And I hope that over the next couple of decades, our medical professionals will check their biases. And so that's what the next several videos are going to be about. The cool thing about science is that science changes its opinion when it's presented new information. And I've changed my opinion over the years when it comes to food and nutrition and health. I want to remind everyone that it's okay to change your opinion when you are presented new information. And so if you've made it to the end of this video, I'm sorry that I kind of went on a little ranty part right there. But yes, the next few videos are going to be about health and wellness and all that sort of stuff. So thank you for being here. I hope you're excited about the next couple of weeks because I am. Please like and subscribe if you like what I'm doing here. And please make sure that you take care of yourself. Above all else, please stay safe. Please stay healthy. The dogs are here. Conrad? Conrad? Hi, Conrad. Yeah. All right, y'all. Have a good day. Bye. Baby. Hi.